Simply learn. Your pace, your place.
Hello and welcome to the introductory session of Scrum from Simply Learn. Scrum is one of the most widely used techniques or methodology in the industry for the development of products and is in huge demand. You might have come across the term Scrum often while interacting with your colleagues or friends during the office projects and might be wondering what this is all about. Well, to answer your queries, in this session we are going to explain about Scrum at high level. For instance, what is Scrum? Where is it used? Who has used it? How is it used? Etc. Let us look into the agenda of this session, which will give you an idea as to how we will answer your queries. Agenda. First, we are going to discuss Scrum History, wherein we will address the beginning of Scrum and the current state. Then we will look into the definition of Agile and the different methodologies and how Scrum is connected with Agile, followed by definitions of Scrum and different terms used under Scrum framework. The next part is about different roles played under Scrum and their importance. Also, we're going to address about the best practices of Scrum that we can learn from this session. After hearing the high level of Scrum, you may be wondering, am I the right person to take up the Scrum course or certification? Well, we will answer that query as well when we discuss the target audience. Also, we will look into the different certifications provided available in Scrum. And in the end, we're going to cover how Simply Learn will help you obtain the Certified ScrumMaster Certification, which we also call it as CMS. Now let us look into the above discussed topics in detail in the following slides. Let us begin with the history of Scrum. In 1986, Hirotaka Takeuchi and Ikujiro Nonaka described a new approach to product development that would increase speed and flexibility. This was known as rugby approach. In the early 1990s, Ken Schwaber used this approach, which became Scrum. Jeff Sutherland, with John Skamniotales and Jeff McKenna, developed a similar approach at Easel Corporation, called Scrum Methodology, which they presented at the Business Object Design and Implementation Workshop. Schwaber and Sutherland collaborated during the following years to merge the above writings, their experiences, and industry best practices into what is now known as Scrum. In 2001, Schwaber worked with Mike Beadle to describe the method in the book Agile Software Development with Scrum, due to one of Ken Schwaber's earlier papers, which capitalized Scrum in title. Some companies implementing the process used it with capital letters, although the word is not an acronym. Now that you have an idea about the history of Scrum, where it came from, let's look into the definition of Scrum in the next slide. So what is Scrum? Scrum is an Agile methodology and is by far the most popular Agile methodology practiced in industries. The term Scrum refers to the team huddles or clusters in rugby, which happens just before the game begins. The Scrum methodology follows the practices similar to that in the game of rugby. Scrum is a framework within which people can address complex adaptive problems, while proactively and creatively delivering products of the highest possible value. It is used to manage complex product development. Scrum demonstrates the relative efficacy of your product management and development practices so that you can improve. It consists of Scrum teams and their associated roles, events, artifacts, and rules. Each component within the framework serves a specific purpose and is essential to Scrum's success and usage. Scrum is founded on empirical process control theory, or empiricism. Empiricism asserts that knowledge comes from experience and making decisions based on what is known. In the recent years, there have been a significant demand for Scrum awareness and Scrum certification in the industry. As we said in the earlier slide, that Scrum is one of the methodologies used under Agile software development approach. Likewise, we are having different other methodologies that can be used in Agile. In the coming slides, we will see a few methodologies at the high level. We will understand Agile in this slide. Agile is most popular in software development approach and is based on iterative and incremental development, where requirements and solutions evolve through collaboration between self-organizing, cross-functional teams. It is a time-boxed iterative approach that promotes adaptive planning, evolutionary development, and delivery, and encourages rapid and flexible response to change. Agile methods break tasks into small increments with minimal planning and do not directly involve long-term planning. Team composition in an Agile project is usually cross-functional and self-organizing, without consideration for any existing corporate hierarchy or the corporate roles of team members. Agile methods emphasize face-to-face communication over written documents when all the teams are in the same location. In the next slide, we will see reasons why Agile is vital for an organization. Agile focuses on most important or high-priority items and prevents waste. It produces working software quickly and also delivers value to the customer at the earliest. This helps to market the product fast and in time, and also recognizes customer engagement. The feedback from customer is immediately incorporated in the next incremental release. Also, there is flexibility in terms of prioritization of features based on customer or market demand. For more details, please look into the website http://www.agilemanifesto.org. In the next slide, we will get an insight into different Agile methodologies. The different methodologies can come under the umbrella of two variants. One is lightweight approach, and the second one is fuller approach. Lightweight approaches are characterized by relatively few prescriptive agreements, whereas fuller approaches involve a lot more detailed guidance in terms of process prescriptions. Some of the lightweight approaches are Scrum, Extreme Programming, and Crystal. Some of the heavyweight or fuller approaches are Dynamic Systems Development Method, or DSDM, a term which is quite popular in the UK. Agile Unified Process, which is an instantiation of the Rational Unified Process for adapting it to Agile, and Feature-Driven Development, or FDD. Let us address a few points about all these methods, as our main focus of this session is on Scrum. Crystal clear can be applied to teams of up to 6 or 8 co-located developers working on systems that are not life-critical. The Crystal family of methodologies focuses on efficiency and habitability as components of project safety. Crystal Clear focuses on people, not processes or artifacts. Crystal Clear requires frequent delivery of usable code to users, reflective improvement, and communication, preferably by being co-located, personal safety, focus, easy access to expert users, and technical environment with automated tests, configuration management, and frequent integration. Feature-driven development, also called as FDD, is an interactive and incremental software development process. The practices are all driven from a client-valued functionality or feature perspective. Its main purpose is to deliver tangible, working software repeatedly in a timely manner. The main goal of extreme programming, or XP, is to lower the cost of change in software requirements. With traditional system development methodologies, like the waterfall methodology, the requirements for the system are determined and often frozen at the beginning of the development project. This means that the cost of changing the requirements at a later stage in the project, something that is very common in the real world, can be very high. The 5 core values of XP are communication, simplicity, feedback, courage, and respect. The Agile Unified Process, or AUP, applies Agile techniques such as test-driven development, TDD, Agile modeling, Agile change management, and database refactoring to improve productivity. Dynamic Systems Development Method, DSDM, is an Agile project delivery framework, primarily used as a software development method. Let us discuss about Scrum Lifecycle in the next slide. The lifecycle of Scrum is based on the term sprint, which is the heart of the Scrum. Sprint is a time box typically of 3 to 4 weeks of planned activities. You may be wondering, what is time box? Don't worry, we will cover time box further in this course. Sprint has consistent duration, and the next sprint starts immediately after the conclusion of the previous sprint. At the end of each sprint, we are going to get finished work, which can be, for example, a usable product. In the Scrum lifecycle, there are different roles associated with it, and different types of meetings are carried out. Apart from these, we need to understand different terminologies used under Scrum. We're going to address all these parameters in the upcoming slide. In the next slide, we will look into terminologies used in Scrum. Here are different terminologies used by the team who are managing or practicing the Scrum. So before starting projects which uses Scrum methodologies, one should be aware of all these terminologies to be in sync with the process and people. To list a few, terminologies like sprint, time box, done, and release are frequently used. Other than these, there are events and roles which will be explained during the latter part. We're going to address each one of them in the next slide. Let's begin with basic definition of sprint. Sprint is an agreed time within which the team needs to complete an agreed upon set of deliverables. As we said earlier, the duration of sprint, which we call as time box, is about 4 weeks. At the end of the sprint, the agreed software has to be delivered which is fit for use. One may be having the question, what happens when the agreed software is not complete? Can the timeline of sprint be extended? The answer is no. Sprint deadline cannot be extended. But sprint duration can be changed during the course of the project, but not within the sprint frame itself. Hope you got the understanding of sprint. In the next slide, we see about the definition and the characteristics of time box.